Welcome to the Shire.
Hi everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Ubisoft for including me in the closed beta test of the new Settlers game. I stream the game live over on my Twitch channel, link in the description below, and in this video we're going to take a deeper look into what actually changed between the first 4 games and the latest in the series.
The map in itself right now is obviously probably going to be randomized everywhere, but it starts out like any regular Settlers games. These produce over time, and I believe it's what, about a minute per settler. It gives you +1, but then when you connect other residences to it, you gain an even bigger bonus. So all of these buildings get +1 for being connected. I think you only really need to connect one building rather than more than one. The buildings themselves are also not distinct enough, I feel. What is that? What is that resource? Is that coal? I take it that's coal. No. It's iron. And it's unlimited. An unlimited resource of iron. This is an issue where it selects your engineers over your soldiers. So like the engineers have priority selection. That's not a good thing. This really annoys me. It's a recruitment queue, right? Which means that I honestly don't know where the settlers are coming out of. If they're coming out of here, they most definitely are. So what you want to do is you're going to have to make very specific districts when you're playing this to maximize the efficiency of everything that you're doing. You're going to have to make districts instead of foresters, which you would obviously use to replant a forest regularly. They've done this. They've selected certain trees on the maps, on all of the maps. There's going to be areas of forest which are regrowing. So this is instead of a forest. You have trees growing by themselves in a particular area forever. I do dislike that it won't allow you to actually use things if they're too far away. I would like it if resources could go directly from its supply to the windmill and stuff. I mean, it obviously does, right? But what I wanted to do is if it's too far away, I want to be able to get those resources from there into the next and into the next. So they all have different stats. Smaller but cheaper residences, right? So the residences that we have was a 1-1, so probably regular residences are 2-2. All buildings can take more damage, so they're kind of a defensive kind of thing. Reduce cost for farms, windmills, bakeries, and residences. So like that's cheaper. Crossbows deal more damage. So this is definitely someone that would benefit from just basically spamming archers, which is going to be very bad. Especially considering this. This compared to this is a bad trade-off. Like that is a very bad trade-off, which means the Jorn probably has better footmen. What we're going to do is we're just going to make arrows. I want to see if the game can be broken that way. Because I feel like that is the way to go. Yep. There we go. That's what I was assuming. You can't have a civilization that gains stronger archers, especially when there's only 3 civilizations. What effectively is going to happen is that everyone's going to be playing Ilari because they have the strongest archers, and then you're just going to like run as fast as you can into getting archers, and when you have those archers, well, you're set. You don't need anything else. The third one that they also have in there that we're not allowed to play, which is kind of stupid, but obviously it's a closed beta, but I feel like if you get the groundwork done, you should be able to access all of the units that are currently there, because otherwise you can't really make an educated assessment of the civilizations that you have available to you. Fine. You can balance 2 of them, right, which is going to happen. The Ilari and the Maru, or whatever they were called, are going to get balanced somewhat, but then you add the third civilization into the mix, and suddenly your balancing has been for nothing. Like, you have effectively ruined your balancing because you now need to balance a second time to balance the third civilization having been added. What I would like to see is the statistics of carriers that I currently have working, and I can't find that. I can only see how many I have that are currently doing nothing, but I can't see the total amount of workers that I have. I really do hope that's subject to change. This is what I wanted in Settlers, the new one, right? The ledger of every single information that I require to see just how many units I have of any given kind. The weapons, the soldiers, and like the amount of carriers and settlers. Like, even down here you have more information. There needs to be focused workers. You need to have established, dedicated settlers to the buildings. Mines have no necessary value. They have nothing to them rather than just producing the resources. They all use meat for a production bonus. But the thing is, it all gives ×2 resources, right? But it's like, is it necessary? Is it necessary to have a boost system rather than in the way of how it was before, where we need the resources to gain resources? Like, that's what we want. That is what we want. We have our residences here, farms, windmill, a bakery here. We have our warehouse here. It has no bread in it. We have our mining colony down here. There's 26 pieces of bread here. The farms are over here. The bread is down here. The game, when it comes to prioritizing things, works very, very wrongly. Like, it doesn't prioritize correctly, and I really hope they fix that. You don't have the same kind of resource depth and like resource generation, and you shouldn't just have to build one thing and then suddenly get 15 million different resources out of that one building. No, you want complex resource production. That's what you want from a Settlers game. You want to build a grain farm, and then that grain goes to both the pig farm and the donkeys. It goes to the bakery. You have to have a production line that is in-depth, engaging and interesting, and something that you can strategize and move forward with continuously. You need to have games that have clear and concise information that also allows you the depth of gameplay that you require. The food production is unnecessary in the new Settlers. A thing that is so integral to the whole Settlers experience, and the thing that has made you rage and be annoyed at for years. They have taken that, they've ripped it from your cold, dead hands, and they've just been like, you know what? You don't need this resource anymore. Your knowledge of the game is null and void because you have no need for this food right here. There is no reason for you to build any of these food buildings because your houses, your mines, and everything else functions without it. It's just that if you do provide it with food, you get twice the amount of resources out of it. You get a tiny, teeny little boon of like, oh, well done, you built a food building. Here, have twice the amount of resources to use. There's no progression for soldiers. You don't have the level up skills possible that even Settlers 2 have, where you produce gold, you produce coins, you give them to your soldiers, and suddenly they become stronger soldiers. In the new one, you have nothing in terms of progression for making stronger soldiers. They're all the same, and instead you have research. That's it. Instead of the actual coin being used for something, you make a mint, and then you get 50 coins a pop. It's like, why? Why are you having inflated numbers? Is there a reason for having inflated numbers? Instead of making one coin, you make 50 coins from one gold piece? Make one coin and lower the cost. Lower the cost of the research to apply to that. Just be like, okay, well, instead of 150 gold, you make one gold coin per gold nugget that you mine up. And the research costs 3 gold coins instead, rather than 150. There's no point in making 50 pieces of gold when everything else that you make is 1. Everything in the game works in the number of 1. Except for the gold. Except for the gold in that game, which you make 50. And I don't understand. This game had promise, but it shows none of that promise. It's building on a foundation that's been provided to it, but it's building on the foundation using broken material. They are trying to appeal to the older audience and still bringing something new in, but it doesn't work because there are so many balancing issues. There's not a lot of depth. I feel like balancing wise, the game is going to be very, very different once it actually releases, but there's not a lot of gameplay here. There's no complex resource chains. You have wood going into lumber and that's it. You've got iron and coal produced without any issue because you don't need resources to produce them. They had the ability to look at the work that has been provided for them. It's been, the groundwork is already there. 7 games to take inspiration from and work with and look into them and understand what makes them work, what makes them the Settlers games that they are, that people come back to and play. And then they take that, they look at it and they say, okay, for the nostalgia fans, we're gonna add the roads, and then we're gonna shit on everything else.